G'day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the physical Mecha Frieza Super Strike revamp that has come to Dbz Dokkan. So obviously this is another Super Strike revamp pretty quickly after we received our previous one, the Vicious Mechanical Monarch. And this is basically a battle or an event where you can pick up the physical Mecha Frieza. Now you can also pick up an int Mecha Frieza from this event. However, obviously, if I can say it plainly, he doesn't awaken or easy A. So there's very little reason to invest in getting him now. I'm sure later on they will add a easy A and awakening for him. But for now, no need to concern yourself with that. So yeah, we will focus on the event. So essentially for this event there are 5 stages. The first stage drops the int Frieza, the second stage drops the physical Mecha Frieza, the third stage drops the awakening medals, then the fourth stage drops the Dokkan awakening medals, and then finally we have the extreme stage or level 5 where you get the Extreme Z awakening medals. So that's the entire process. There are some missions and I'll be running through how you should do things to be most efficient. But yeah, just to take a look at Frieza, obviously after his easy A, he's a 70% physical and int type lead, which is obviously super duper helpful. Then we have the fact that he raises defense for 1 turn on his super attack. He's also got attack and defense of 100%. When key is 6 or more, plus an additional attack and defense of 100% when key is 9 or more, plus an additional attack and defense of 50% when key is 12, plus an additional attack and defense when target enemy is in attack down status, plus an additional defense of 100% when all allies attacking in the turn, all wicked bloodline characters, and then a high chance of performing a critical hit when all allies attacking in the same turn, as a resurrected warrior category characters. He also has a bonus for this event. It is the Bond of Master and Disciple, so you should have a fairly straightforward time. The missions for the event are also fairly simple. Most of them have to do with Dokkan awakening Frieza, filling out his hidden potential paths, and I'll run you through the exact order in which to do the missions so that you have a little bit of a better time. But yeah, basically pretty super solid unit. There's some conditions to completing in stage 5, which is mainly to have a Trunks teen on your team, which is fairly easy to do since there's the strength Trunks teen from the Super Strike event. And then of course we also have the condition to use Bond of Master and Disciple units. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the missions. Obviously in total there's quite a few stones to earn here, 21 stones. So for most players it's going to be a pretty, like, how can I say, a pretty good event to earn some currency from, plus get a pretty good unit. Frieza's also got a 200% lead now in the form of the metal cooler. So yeah, pretty interesting as a unit. Obviously we'll take a look at them in a review. We're going to start with stage 2 because that's where you need to earn copies of Frieza. We're not going to do stage 1 because, like I said, that drops int copies. And yeah, we're basically just going to take on the stage. Now we're going to use only free-to-play units, but you guys need to build a team of the best units you can. So basically, to cut a long story short, you need to build the best units possible. Generally speaking, you want to try and have higher rarity units, because having higher rarity units will increase your team bonus chance, which generally means you're going to have a little bit of an easier time in terms of obviously getting bonus drops, which will shorten the amount of time it takes to farm for things. Now for me, there's not that many Bond of Master and Disciple free-to-play leads, so instead I'm going to mainly focus on using the Super Battle Road Gohan as the lead for the team. However, otherwise your next best bet is probably to just go Goku's family if you are looking from a free-to-play side. If you're not looking from a free-to-play side, there's tons of Bond of Master and Disciple leads that you can choose. Please don't build a free-to-play team. Rather build the best Bond of Master and Disciple team you have. even if it requires you to awaken some extra characters, rather do that, because at the end of the day it's going to flesh out your teams, and that's always a bonus. So yeah, obviously first stage, or second stage I should say, but the first stage you need to do is 4 copies of Frieza. Very straightforward event, 1 phase, 1 fight, very easy, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to step on any pads. In terms of how many Friezas you're going to want to get, you're going to want to farm 15 copies of the SR Frieza, because you're going to need 5 additional copies to make another copy of Frieza that you're going to eventually feed into his EZA. Now if you don't understand how that works, I will leave a video at the top right hand corner called How to Save Kais. That should be able to assist you. But yes, in terms of the, I would say in terms of the like requirements or anything, if you want to save Kais, you're going to want to get 15 copies of SR Frieza, because that's going to save you a lot of Kais, a lot of trouble later on. Next is obviously to move on to stage 3. Now stage 3 will drop his his UR awakening medals. So this is not his TUR awakening medals. These medals will only let him go to a max level of 100, but they will unlock his hidden potential system. So we're going to need to definitely do them. So what you're going to want to do is you are going to want to obviously do this stage. You need in total 7 medals to Dokkan awaken him. You're going to need, to UR awaken him. You're going to need to use double those. So you're going to need 14 medals in total. Again, you're going to need those 14 medals for the second copy of Frieza that you are going to be, obviously awakening as well for the eventual EZA. So this fight's also fairly simple, nothing too crazy. You have Goku, or you can use whoever really. It's just 2 phases, I think. Nothing too crazy, a little bit longer than the previous one. The drop rate for this isn't so bad, especially with a decent team boost. And it really only took me about 2 or 3 runs of the stage to have enough to be able to awaken Frieza and Dokkan awaken everything I needed. So this wasn't so bad. This was fairly straightforward, fairly simple, and yeah, all done. So what you're going to want to do before you move on to stage 4 is you're going to want to farm 15 copies of SR Frieza, and then you're also going to want to have 14 of his UR medals. Those are the medals that come from stage 3. Make sure you do that, and then you can come back to this video or pause this video or whatever you need to do, and I'll run you through exactly what you need to do. You also notice that you completed some missions. You're going to want to collect these now. One, so that you have the additional copies of Frieza to save you some farming time, but also you're going to need the Turtle and the Bulma medals for the copies that you plan on awakening. You can see here we have 6 copies of Frieza. You can see it takes 7 medals to get him to his next stage. So like I said, you're going to max 1 copy to SA10, you're going to max a second copy to SA5, and then what you're going to do is you're going to awaken both of them to their UR state using those 7 medals. Then you can come back and we will take on stage 4. So pause the video, do whatever you need, go do that, and then we'll come back and we'll take on stage 4. Obviously, if you didn't pause the video, you've just gone straight to stage 4, that's fine. Now that we're in stage 4, same premise. This stage also fairly easy. These medals here are going to be to Dokkan awaken him. So that is to unlock his level 120 state. It's something that's obviously very, very important. We are going to want to obviously make sure that we do that. Because the thing is you can do his hidden potential now at stage 100. I'm going to run you through what to do there after we complete the stage. But yes, you need to Dokkan awaken him, because then obviously the next step is the Extreme Z awakening. Now the Dokkan awakening uses 10 medals. In total, so the Dokkan awakening uses 10 medals. Generally speaking, pretty decent drop rate on the medals, between 1 to 2 copies of each medal per instance. It did take me a little bit longer to farm this one. I think it took 4 attempts. It's also just because of the increased requirement. So obviously it requires 20 medals in total. So you're going to need to farm 20 medals in total. please make sure again that you do that so that you obviously have enough for your second copy of Frieza. Please remember you don't need the second copy of Frieza if you are not planning on saving Kais. If you're not planning on saving Kais, don't worry about the second copy of Frieza. This stage doesn't take too long though, because it is only one phase. So at the end of the day, it's really not anything too crazy in terms of length or difficulty or anything like that. So yeah, we complete the stage, awesome. You can see we got some medals as well, so that's also very cool. And yeah, now what you're going to want to do is going to want to work on your Frieza. You will have completed some more missions now, but don't worry about them just yet. So if we go back to my box, you will notice that I have the two Friezas from before. They are only Z awakened. I'm now going to awaken them using the medals we previously farmed. So this awakens them to their UR state. I'm going to awaken one of the Friezas because I want to show you guys. Well, I'm going to awaken both of them, but I'm going to awaken the Friezas and I'm going to show you guys exactly what to do in terms of the missions. So having awakened Frieza, we've now completed quite a few missions. You will notice that it, as I mentioned, takes 10 medals to get him to his next step. So obviously, like I said, you're going to want to farm 20 of those. You'll see we've got one copy of Frieza at SA10. I'm going to lock that copy just so I don't accidentally feed it into another one or anything like that. And then I'm just going to go back to the event. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to essentially pick up the mission rewards. Now the reason I'm picking up the mission rewards now is because the mission rewards give me copies of the already awakened Frieza. So if you go to the mission rewards here, you'll see that for awakening Frieza to a UR state, we already receive a couple of copies of him. Now we'll get some more copies for opening up his hidden potential system. So first thing we need to do is we need to train Frieza. We need to train him obviously to his max level. Once he's trained to his max level, then we'll be all good to go and we can Z awaken him. And that will obviously reset him a little bit. But now we have access to his hidden potential system. We're going to open up his hidden potential system and we're going to open up all 4 of his paths. So we're going to open up every single path on Frieza right now so that you can obviously have everything ready for when you eventually 100% him. But not only that, it's going to assist us in completing the other missions at the event, which are going to give us the copies we need to get Frieza's SA to a max of 15. You'll notice that Super Strike units start with a max SA of 15, and then that, when they EZA, goes to 20, which is why we need the second copy of Frieza that's going to be at SA 5. So obviously, now that's done, I'm going to go back to the mission. I'm going to go back to the event. In the event, I will now have unlocked the ability to claim the mission rewards, which will give me the final copies I need of Frieza to feed into him to get him to max SA. It's also going to give me some hidden potential orbs, which is also obviously something that's pretty good. So here we are, we've got Frieza. We're going to just train him again, and we're going to feed in the 5 copies of Frieza. We're going to be very careful not to use the one that we already have at SA 5. If you are in a situation where you accidentally use that one, just keep the other 5 copies and make sure that you train them so that they become your second copy of SA 5. So it's not a huge issue, but yeah, just be aware of that, because you don't want to end up in the situation where you don't have your second copy and then you got to go refarm the copies, refarm the medals, etc. Now that we've done that, we're all ready to go. We're going to farm the Dokkan Awakening medals, and then we're going to push on to stage 5. And stage 5 obviously contains the missions and obviously contains the Extreme Z Awakening medals. So that's what we're going to go on to next. As you can see, there's the Extreme stage, and we're now going to take it on. So obviously, just in terms of the Extreme stage, there are some challenges. So those challenges for the Extreme stage are to use a Trunks Teen unit. So as I mentioned before, a great free-to-play option for this is the Strength Trunks Teen. The second requirement is to use a Bond of Master and Disciple units. Now if you do complete both of these requirements, then you will only need to run the event 3 times in total. So you'll only need to run the stage 5 3 times in total, as long as you complete all of those event missions. If you do so, it saves you a bit of time, saves you a bit of stamina, etc. It's not required. You can use whichever team you want. There's no team build restrictions on the stage. You can use whatever team you want, and you can take on the stage, and you should be able to beat it. So that's why it is a little bit tough. Like, you will notice that my team, okay, to be fair, aren't running under a full lead or anything like that, but you will notice that my team does tend to take a little bit of damage. And that's because, quite frankly, it is fairly tough, the Super Strike EZAs. I think they're not super hard. I'm not saying they're like, anywhere close to hard content difficulty, but I think they will surprise a lot of new players, especially players that are trying to get, the units kind of like done, and players who are trying to like obviously get Super Strike units to fill out their teams might be a bit surprised by how hard the extreme stages are. With that being said, and with that obviously noted, Frieza comes in 3 phases. He's a physical phase, then a tech phase, and a physical phase. Obviously having strength units is going to be priority, and then having AGL units or end units is considered a little bit of a hindrance. Overall, in my team there wasn't too many units I needed to worry about, so I wasn't too concerned about any of this, but obviously it is just something to be aware of. In terms of Frieza as well, he is immune to stunning and sealing, he's immune to attack lowering and defense lowering, and he can also lock your rotations, which can irritate quite a few people. So if you want to be safe, you'll see here, I've brought items like a Sensu Bean or a Dende, something that will heal you up but also remove status afflictions, which will allow you to then move your characters out of harm's way. So if there's anything really to take note, I guess that is probably as good as it gets to taking note in terms of like, okay, this is like a mechanic to be aware of. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Like I said, you will need to farm the stage a couple times if you don't complete the missions. The missions aren't too hard just due to their pretty good synergy, so you should have a pretty easy time completing them. Obviously in total, for Frieza, for his EZA, just to run you through the medals required, you will need 15 bronze medals, 45 silver, 30 gold and 30 rainbow medals, which isn't too bad considering the nature of the event. I think the hardest phase is the tech phase, mainly due to the fact that my team is very strength orientated. So the tech phase seems like it gives the most delay or issues. With that being said though, obviously it can depend for everyone on their box, and remember, I am using a fully free-to-play team and my team's not even operating under a full lead, so that is also why I'm having some issues just in terms of pacing. Not really close to dying at any point, but I am having issues with obviously the speed at which I complete the event. Fortunately, I have very strong options like Gohan and Goku, who are obviously my friend lead, and they're going to do a lot of the damage that is going to take out the physical Frieza. So yeah, overall, I think it's a fairly straightforward stage. I don't think people will struggle immensely with it, but you can definitely struggle. Once you have the Extreme Z Awakening medals, you don't need to do too much with them, because all you simply have to do is Extreme Z Awaken the first copy that is at SA 15. Extreme Z Awaken that copy, and then all you have to do is train in the second copy at SA 5, and his SA will be maxed, and that's pretty much it. So you don't really need to do too much crazy stuff. Like, you don't need to get absolutely wild with it or anything like that. You will be more than fine. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it really when it comes to anything else. Obviously we're about to finish up the final phase. I'll run you guys through what you should have in your box at this point, so that you can obviously just see that and relate to that. But if you've been following the guide, you should have a pretty good idea of what you need to do, and if you've done a Super Strike event before, you should also have a pretty decent idea on what to do. So Not going to get too into the nitty-gritty, not going to show you guys everything afterwards. Just basically wanted to show you that you can complete the stage with the team I've been using, and basically just wanted to show you guys or discuss how many medals you need and how to get them, etc. So all fairly straightforward, nothing too rocket sciencey, I want to say. As you can see, we've completed some of the missions, so if you claim those, that's going to shorten your time. You will see there's one more batch of medals for beating the stage in under 5 turns. Anyone who builds a semi-decent team should have a pretty normal chance of doing that, I think. So yeah, pretty straightforward stuff. Otherwise, in terms of Frieza, like I said, Dokkan can awaken him, so that he's obviously here. Dokkan can awaken the second copy, and then you're going to just simply train both of them, and obviously easy aid the copy or the unit that is at SA15, and then you are going to feed the second copy into him, and that's it. That is the entire process. I know it seems long, I know it does seem intense, but it is always worth it to save the Kais, and you still get a lot of value in fully maxing out the unit. But that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If there's anything else that you need to know regarding the Super Strike, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. In terms of Frieza, like I said, there's a couple missions. A lot of them have to do with his Extreme Z Awakening, so you can definitely do that. And there's still 1 or 2 missions left regarding the final fight. But that's it. Good luck and bye.